My name is Timmy. I wouldn't call myself a beast or something, but I've actually had more encounters with predators than you could ever imagine. My human has taken me on some pretty cool adventures during the years, and he says that the best ideas come when you expose yourself for nature. But some of his ideas are better than others. I'm so done with this. Well, being a dog is pretty great. Sure, my physique isn't the same as my early years, but George Burns once said, "You can't help getting older, but you don't have to get old." And I kinda like that.
So I hope you enjoyed that little tribute video of Timmy here. I haven't seen it yet, or I've not even recorded it yet, but I hope it turned out to something. So in this video, I'm gonna take you behind the scenes of how we shot everything. And I'm also gonna share my thoughts about the Xperia 1 Mark V's camera system, especially for videography, and how you can achieve the most cinematic look possible with the Xperia. So buckle up, grab something to drink, and let's get into the forest. Come to me, come! So we're trying to find some high grass or ferns for Timmy to run through to make them kind of shake like a dinosaur in Jurassic Park. And I think it would be a pretty fun shot to do. So our mission is to find that kind of spot, and it should not be a problem in a place like this. Well, this is why you should always scout the place before going somewhere, because this place isn't really what I thought it would be. We can't find any ferns, except like one. On the way here we saw an ocean of ferns in another place, so we're going there instead. But I figured I want to take one shot that I've been thinking of. So I had to rethink a bit. It was too high, so we're doing this instead. Look at that. Super nice. So we have a little bit of a problem. As you can see, it's way too bright and the sun is shining. And for those fern shot, I need overcast and cloudy because I really need that moody kind of dark look to really get this shot going. But the thing is, it's very windy, so sometimes there are clouds covering the sun, and then we have a little bit of a window where we can shoot. So we're gonna try to go to the ferns and try to wait in the clouds. And if they not appear, we have to rethink or just wait for another day when it's cloudy. It would be so nice to have it today. I think we got it. So in this next shot, I'm planning to have Timmy run in between the ferns here, shoot it in 25 FPS and shoot it with the right shutter speed, and I will tell you why in a minute. I want the shot to feel very action-like. It's like straight out of an action movie. Motion blur can help you achieve that effect. So I will try to have it on a gimbal and just ride beside Timmy, focusing on his feet when they run. So let's go. The sun is shining and destroying our scary moody shot. Maybe we should have lunch and wait in the clouds and be ready to drop everything when they come. I think we got the shot. So most videographers are after the most cinematic look possible. Or I know I am, at least. And I want to show my mom that I can make videos that look like the movies she's watching. And besides storytelling, what I think is one of the most important things to achieve a cinematic look is to use the right shutter speed. So what is the correct shutter speed, you may ask? That is to have the shutter speed set to double the frame rate that you're filming in. So let's say you're shooting in 24 FPS. Setting the shutter speed to 1/48 will give you a really nice and smooth motion blur. I think the motion blur kind of glues the frames together to create this very cinematic look. And this brings me into why I love the Xperia and its Videography Pro so much. And that's because you can almost control everything, like every little setting, totally manually, and you can really achieve the results you're after. So everything from manual focus to shutter speed to ISO settings to, yeah, you name it. And you might have heard about the tip to only shoot in sunset or sunrise to get a cinematic look, and I partly agree with that because the lighting at those times are usually very, very good. But if you're shooting in midday with the right shutter speed, I think it can look very good even though it's very bright. The important thing is to use the right shutter speed. And obviously the shadows might be very harsh during the day like this. But getting inside the forest, and if you have clouds, wait for the clouds to come like we did today and kind of work around it or work with it, you can achieve really nice results midday. Yeah, but to be able to get the cinematic motion blur I'm talking about and setting the shutter speed to 1/48 or 1/50, you probably need to use an ND filter, and this is sunglasses for your camera. And this will decrease the light coming into the sensor. Otherwise, using the shutter speed of like 1/48 will look way too bright for the video to look good. So if you already know this, I'm sorry for repeating myself, but I really, really think it's important to know this. Now let's get back. Wait.
Because I'm using the grid lines here to frame Timmy the same spot again. So I'm using his eyes on this line here, as I mentioned earlier. So how you can enable the grid lines, because I don't think they're enabled by default. You can go into to menu and then go to markers. And here you can turn off the markers, and you can also have different ones. I have the regular, like the rule of thirds, and also the center marker. Great thing to use to frame up different shots the same way. That's actually a nice shot.
So we decided to get to my parents' place. They have this ocean of like leaves here, and I thought, why not make the scene where like the ferns are shaking here? This will do, but we have the problem, the sun, as usual. They are maybe 1 minute of shooting. Let's go. Sorry, Mom. We got the shot. Bra jobbat, Timmy! So in my previous video about the Xperia 1 Mark V, I quickly mentioned s-cinetone for mobile, which is a mobile version of the very popular color profile s-cinetone that we see on Sony's professional camera systems. So using s-cinetone for mobile, you get cinematic looking colors directly out of the phone, and it handles skin tones very well. And I find this looking very good in most situations. So that is very nice if you want cinematic colors directly out of the phone. But sometimes in a scene like this, for example, I personally want the colors to be more vibrant and to really pop. And that is when the creative looks come in very handy. For this scene, and also for the garden scene where Timmy was taking a shower, I choose the vivid one because I really like how that preset like makes everything pop and it looks very sharp and contrasty. But I don't think it does it like too much. And I like how it gives the image a really warm and happy feeling. And these creative looks also works for photos. And I really like playing around with the creative looks because it's easier to find a composition when you have the color grading already done. Then you can really frame the way you want and really see the end results directly on the screen when you're filming. So the next scene we're planning on shooting, we're gonna use this vattenslang in Swedish and use this as some sort of gun thing. Perfect. First try, let's see how it goes. So here I'm recording everything in 4K 120 FPS. Then I'm able to slow this down by 5 times to create a very nice slow motion video. And who doesn't love slow motion? I know I do. A lot of tries and I think we might have got the shot, but I'm not sure. So the autofocus on the Xperia is by far the best autofocus I have ever tried on a phone. And you even have animal eye autofocus for pets when shooting photos. And you have animal eye tracking when shooting video. And it works really, really well. But even if the autofocus is very good on this phone, I can highly recommend to sometimes shoot in manual focus when you're shooting video. So the key to get a shot like this, for example, is to use manual focus. Because when you're following the subject, like in this case the water gun or sprinkler, what do you call it, you don't want the camera to hunt for focus because you will most likely see that change when you slow it down to slow motion. So what I do is to switch to manual focus and then I just decide what distance I want the subject to be in. And then I try to keep that distance through the whole movement. And personally, I think this looks way more professional than having the autofocus, like trying to hunt. Obviously using autofocus for other situations is very good and I use it all the time. But just when it's a lot of action and you actually have the ability to control the distance between the subject and the camera in like just simple movements with your hands, it's really good to use manual focus. And the feature that comes in very handy when using manual focus is focus peaking. And you enable this by just clicking on this button down here, and then you see these white lines where the focus is. Because sometimes it's very hard to see the focus, and when you put up the video on a big screen, you see that you maybe missed focus, for example. So I can highly recommend to use focus peaking when doing stuff like that. So that's everything about manual focus. Time to get back. So I bought this to be able to kind of simulate the feeling of happy bathing time or something like that. Nu kan vi spela. No. So I'm gonna try something pretty tricky today. I've been at this location for the past week and I've been shooting photos and video of this amazingly beautiful great gray owl, which is personally my favorite owl species. So I'm gonna try to shoot 4K 120 FPS with the Xperia and hopefully get an owl like flying in and flying past. And yeah, the chances of it appearing aren't really that big because it's a lot of wind today, but I definitely see more owls out here than in my couch at home. So let's begin the waiting. So look at this. Imagine we're going with the 125mm. Imagine it perching on this branch here. Oof. But I know that the owl really likes this like stick here. So if that happens, we have the best Xperia shot I can imagine. I need to really preset the settings so I know I'm ready if it comes. So I found such a cool composition. The sun is peeking through the forest just a tiny bit. When shooting with the 85, you get a real nice compression in the shot. And that, together with the creative look FL, you get this very moody shot with a golden sun looking through. So come look at this. Look at that.